Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. We are glad that you're here to join us for our high school end of course exams webinar. So we are excited that you're here joining us, and we want to give you a bit of information because we know that your child will be taking the EOC, the end of course exams. They may be starting taking that, or they have taken some of them. So we wanted to give you a little bit of more information in terms of differences and changes for EOC for this upcoming school year. So we welcome you. My name is Rebecca Brown. I serve as the Deputy Superintendent of Academics. We also have a lovely lady next to me. Julie, if you can introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Julie Abram, and I'm the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning here in LaPorte ISD. We're delighted to have you with us tonight.
So Julie and I are going to go through some slide decks with you and share some information. So sit back and relax and enjoy the presentation. So we're going to start with a video. We wanted to share with you, again, this is STAAR redesign. It's called STAAR redesign, but it is also relates to end of course EOC. So we're going to show you a quick 1-minute video from TA to share with you what STAAR redesign is going to look like.
So we just want to recap a little bit about the STAAR and how it's changing. That video does a nice job of giving us an overview. There are 4 big ways that the STAAR assessments and the EOC assessments are changing for 23. Number 1, the STAAR assessment, and primarily the STAAR assessment is really trying to mirror more so what students will experience in the classroom, what their educational learning experiences look like on a regular basis, and how students provide teachers with understanding of their learning. So the first big way that the STAAR redesign is going to change to mirror that or to accommodate that is by building in background knowledge and vocabulary in all subject areas into the assessment. So we know that when students are learning in the classroom, teachers are regularly making connections to student learning in other classes and other contents and other subjects and in the outside world. So the STAAR redesign will capitalize on that by prioritizing cross-curricular passages in reading language arts that reference topics students have already learned in other classes. So you'll start to see within the reading language arts in the EOC for English 1 and English 2, cross-curricular passages. And what that means is instead of students reading passages entirely from fiction or nonfiction or drama, they will start to also begin reading passages that might come from informational texts in science, informational texts in social studies, historical texts, and so forth. Another big way that the STAAR is being redesigned to more closely mirror classroom instruction is to ask students in the writing portion to use evidence from the text to support their ideas. So we know that when we're in the classroom, students are being asked to write or talk or debate. They are being asked to prove their ideas. And so on the new redesign, the STAAR assessments are going to be asking students to write in all reading, in all ELA tests. In the past, we've only tested in 4th grade, 7th grade, and then English 1 and English 2. For high school, that won't change. They will still have writing on English 1 and English 2. But we will be asking students to reflect on a passage more so than they have in the past. It won't be just a standalone prompt, and they'll be asking students to use evidence from the text to support their ideas, which is a more sophisticated skill, and it's different from what students may have seen in the past on English 1 and English 2 exams. The third way that the STAAR tests are being redesigned is to provide various open-ended formats for students to demonstrate their learning. So if you think about a STAAR exam or any kind of formal assessment, students are often asked to answer multiple choice questions. They have a series of 4 or 5 questions. One of the answers is correct, and the students will then select the correct answer and then move to the next question. In the classroom, students are not provided multiple choice questions every day to demonstrate their learning. They demonstrate their learning in a variety of open-ended formats by answering questions, writing products, producing products, and so forth. And so to more closely mirror that, the STAAR redesign will ask new non-multiple choice questions. So no more than 75% of the exam is going to be made of single point or historical multiple choice questions. And instead, about 25% or more will be of these new non-multiple choice question types that we're going to show you in just a moment. And then the last way that the STAAR is changing is really helping to embed accommodations that are appropriate to support all learners. And so by moving to an online testing format, we are able to provide students with accommodations that are rich and to allow them supports that they need, whether they need specific supports for their learning disabilities or their special learning needs, or whether they just need some specific supports to be successful in the assessment for all students. The online testing format allows us to do that.
Thanks,
So let's
Julie. So we're going to delve deeper into what Julie just shared. So that was an FYI for parents for if you have children in 3 through 8, but also how it changes for our end of course exams for EOC. So we're going to delve into some new question types that our students will be seeing in the EOC for the 5 different EOCs. So here is a chart, and we'll give you at the end of this presentation, there are some resources, and this is in TEA. So we have a link for you to see, have this chart, but these are the question types, the new question types that have been introduced to our students for the STAAR redesign. And if you notice, they'll have it by the type of question, as well as the subject area and the grade levels that they will be utilizing within those question types. So we're going to delve a little deeper into some of them. So let's look at this first one. This is an English 2 EOC, and one of the question type is called inline choice writing. And if you look at this example, this is from a 10th grade English 2 class. You'll notice that in the question, it's a drop-down menu. So again, as Julie had shared, it's no longer just an A, B, C, D, E. You'll see that students have to choose which ones. And what we wanted you to understand and share with you is a quick tip for parents is encouraging our students to reread before answering the questions, because it's very crucial for them to choose the right answer, but also to reread what the question's asking. So text entry is about precise language. And if you notice that, it is precise, the word historical, and students will have to choose the correct spelling of historical in this inline choice writing. Here's another type of English 1 and 2 called text entry. So if you look at this question in an English 1, which is our 9th grade English 1 EOC, enter your answer in the box. In paragraph 9, the word debut means. So again, this is almost like a fill in the blank. No longer do they have A, B, C, D choices. The word debut, they read a sample type of passage, and then students are to use that and answer the meaning of the word. So for a quick tip for our parents is helping students understand what written materials are, using a wider range of evidence to support or analyze opinions. It's important that students understand that there's words with different meanings. And from the text that the EEOC will show, it may not particularly mean what the student may think it means, but they have to support that and read through the passage. Another type, and this is a biology EOC, is called multi-select. In here, you will notice that in the past, students had A, B, C, or D, one choice. Now, multi-select means students can choose more than one answer. And here, and you can see that, it says this is what the student will see when they select the correct answers. They could select all 5, they can select 1, or they can select 2 or 3. So a quick tip for our parents is be a strong reading partner by helping your students or your child, asking them the question why. So why is so important in students reading, because it helps them with comprehension, but not only literally, but inferential. So it takes it to the next step. When your child is at home reading a book, reading a magazine, it's simple as just to ask them, what are they reading? Why did this happen in the book or in the story, to help students grow ideas within their mind. And it will help them with these type of questions, because again, this is a multi-select type of question, meaning they can get up to 2 points because there's more than one answer choice. Here within algebra ELC, this is called a match table grid. And if you look at this example, it says which of the relations shown represent y as a function of x. So you'll notice that in this one, students again would select or deselect function or not function within those 3 different diagrams. So did you know, we have a little section here that students solving mathematical problems, they have to be able to write and solve nonlinear equations also. That's part of algebra TEKS, and that's part of, and if you notice right here in the question, is part of them understanding the question in order to know if it's a function or not. Here's another Algebra 1 ELC type of question called match table grid. Again, this is when students, they're going to look at the groups. They have intended audience, but not intended audience. And they literally have to match which one goes with which based on what they're looking at and reading. And if you notice, this is an algebra question, but you see a lot of words and a lot of sentences. So it is crucial that parents, you help your child understand, even in math, even in any of our subjects, reading is crucial in terms of comprehension and understanding what they're reading in order to answer the question correctly. Here in history, here is an example. This is called match table grid. And in here, once again, they're determining, this question is an example, immigration applied most to Irish and Chinese immigrants or both to both groups. So here are some reasons for immigration, and students have to be able to decipher within those reasons if it was Irish, Chinese, or both. And again, this is again multi-step, but it's also match table grid. Another type of questions that students will see in the EOC and algebra is graphing. In the past, students were not able to touch, meaning point the graph and put in the answer. The answer again would have been A, B, C, D. If you notice in here, students are able to take the graph and punt and really dot where the answers would be by answering the question. So did you know on here, students select, point, draw lines, drag bar graphs, and performs other functions independently and create different types of graphs if they need to. And again, they receive points in terms of how correct it is. The point value can be up to 2 points, but they can also receive partial credit if students do show partial credit in how they graph or point the graphs on the X and Y axis. Another type of EOC question you'll see in algebra is called drag and drop. And again, in here, students are able to choose like X equals 2, and they can actually drag that and drop into the equation or the slope. But in here, did you know students are analyzing functions algebraically and graphically and working with functions. And so again, they have to understand the pieces of the functions of the X and Y axis and how it relates to what they're answering. So these are the types of TEKS and the work that students are doing in algebra classes every day. In addition, here's some short constructed responses. This is in English 2. So we have 2 types of responses that students will see on English 1 and English 2, as well as US history and bio. They're called SCR, and ECR. So here's an example of SCR, which is short constructed response. So they would actually read the article up, and away. And if you notice, there's original paragraph that they will be providing the student. And then here's the prompt. Sentence 33 needs to be revised. In the box provided, rewrite sentence 33 in clear and effective way. In the past, editing and revising was an ABCD. Here they will be rewriting the sentence and what sentence 33 may look like or should look like. In biology, short constructed response may look like this. So students are basically looking at the deforestation and they're answering the question, but they're really answering it in a short constructed response. Again, it's no longer A, B, C, D. Did you know responding thoughtfully to diverse perspectives, synthesizing comments, claims, and evidence made on all sides, and resolving contradictions when possible? These are all ideas of objectives that our teachers in high school are teaching our students as they come in ninth grade up to as seniors in other content. So we wanted also to share with you in a daily ELA classroom, here are some things that you maybe see that's happening on the left-hand side are some new question types, multi-part, multi-select, short constructed response, and extended constructed response. You'll see that these we have connected it to our LPISD curriculum in 9th to 12th grade, how it looks in the classroom, but also where you can find the strategies that they're using in terms of supporting these type of answer choices. Julie?
Thank you, Dr. Brown. So I just want to reiterate that these new item types, while they are designed to be more authentic to how students display their learning every day in the classroom, they really do, in all the subjects and all the different kinds of new item types, really do ask students to understand the content in a deeper way. No longer can students rely on, oh, if I see the answer, it'll trigger a memory and I'll remember. Students are going to have to know the content. And so we're working hard in the classrooms to ensure that students are well prepared to face that assessment and be successful with those new item types. The other thing that the assessments are going to provide for students, as they always have in English 1 and English 2, is a writing or an essay. But now the new assessment is going to ask students to make that assessment, that writing, be evidence-based. So it's called an extended constructed response, no longer called an essay. It is intended for students to read a passage, read some sort of lengthy passage, could be, and then write in a response to that passage or text using evidence from the text to support their ideas. And that text that students receive or have to read can either be something fiction or it can be nonfiction. It could be an informational passage, an essay, it can be anything. So here's an example of how this extended constructed response will look on the EOC for English 1 and or English 2. You'll see here that the students are being asked to read a passage. In this case, it's an excerpt from The Namesake, which is a short story. And then students are asked to respond to the following, explain how the characterizations of the characters contribute to the development of the plot in this excerpt. So it's a very sophisticated kind of understanding of the text that students will have to have. And then they will need to write a well-organized informational essay that uses specific evidence from the excerpt to support their answer. And so the scoring for these extended constructed responses are going to be rubric-based, as they have been in the past. Students will have an opportunity to earn 5 total points by 2 separate scorers. And 3 of those points will be on content and 2 of those points will be based on conventions of the English language. So how well do students use grammar, punctuation, spelling, etc., to ensure comprehension of their ideas? Here's another example of how this extended constructive response can look on the new STAAR. Here's an example, an excerpt from Tending Roses. Again, a very short passage, and then the prompt is, what does the author's language in paragraph 8 of the excerpt suggest about grandma? Support your answer with evidence from the excerpt. And so the students will have several paragraphs to read, and then they'll need to respond. So very important that students are able to not only read complex texts and understand them appropriately, but then also be able to respond appropriately to the ideas set forth in those passages. So, a quick tip for families as you're supporting your students at home, writing a literary analysis, a report, or a summary that develops a central idea and a coherent focus must be well supported with examples, facts, and details. So, asking your student if they have an opinion or if they have an idea about something, and then following that up with why. How do you know? What's the point? What's the evidence? Where does it say that? Enforcing that idea that students must be able to support their claims with evidence will be a way to support them. As we mentioned before, the online move for testing ensures that students all have access to the same robust accommodations to support the testing environment. So students will have accessibility tools available to all students, and then there will be some very specific content tools available for students who have learning needs. So as you can see here from this list, there's an extensive number of things that are available to students at all times during the assessment if needed.
Thank you, Julie. So we wanted now to delve into tips for student success. So you being here tonight is one of the crucial steps in your partnership in helping your child be successful. And we are here to ensure that your child is successful. Your student success is our number one priority. That is our guiding light in the district. That is our decisions are based on, everything we do is based on how we can ensure that every student who walks through LPISD doors in any school are successful. So as a parent, you play a critical role in that partnership with us. So one of the ways is we want to encourage that all students are at school every day. Attendance is very crucial in ensuring that missed learning is not happening. When students are not in the classroom and not in school, they're missing learning that could be crucial and is crucial towards them being successful in academically. In addition, the home to school connection is the core of a success of a student. That frequent communication between the parents and the teachers and the school is necessary to share strategies and feedback and just determine how well we are supporting your child as well as how you can help us at home. So that connection between you and us is crucial with the high school, both at Academy and at LaPorte, is that we want to ensure that you are making that connection with teachers and with administration and with us in central office so that we can ensure that your child is successful. Another way is study and practice at home. We will show you in the next few slides at the end, there are some resources and links from TA that there are some practice tests that your child can be taking that can help in just looking at how they would take that in online and using, as Julie shared, the different accommodations and the highlighter and different things, but there are different practice tests and we will give you those different links so that you can share that with your daughter or son and you guys can practice that at home. A crucial part of being successful academically is encouraging reading and writing in all they do. So here in our district, I have some pictures up here. One way is we have STAAR. STAAR is a digital book collection that we have a partnership with the public library system. And so students are able to log on and create an account and be able to see the hundreds and thousands of books that are available digitally that they can read online. And if your child is not utilizing that, please reach out to the school, to the librarian at LaPorte High School as well as at Academy, and we will get you connected to SOAR. Another way is our library. So we have our library in LaPorte High School. We have hundreds of books there, and our teachers, we are building teacher library, classroom libraries as well. So our teachers have a plethora of books also in the classroom for students. We also wanted to ensure our social emotional learning, which is crucial with students being academically successful. We want to ensure that our students are sleeping well. Nutrition is crucial, that students are eating healthy. We know our teenagers, they like to eat fast food a lot. They like to sleep late and wake up early because, you know, high school starts early. But we want to encourage you at home to ensure that students are sleeping, getting their good night's sleep as well as eating well. And most importantly, We also know that in this digital world, students love to be on playing video games on their phones in the middle of the night, but we also hope that you can limit their screen time because it's crucial that students, instead of screen time, they're reading. Now, screen time may be reading a book digitally, so that will count, but screen time with video games and phones, we ask that you help to limit that at home. Julie?
So one of the most important things about the EOC that we want families to understand is that for students to graduate in the state of Texas, they have to demonstrate success on these assessments in order to graduate. With that said, it means that in order for students to follow the graduation plan that was in place for them in ninth grade, they must earn 22 credits or 22 to 26 credits. And then, as I mentioned, they must also pass the STAAR end of course tests. However, there is an alternate. So if students don't earn a particular score on one of the EOC assessments in reading or math, they can also use results from the PSAT, SAT, ACT, AP, or TSIA to meet those requirements as well in reading and math. And then students must pass them all. So there are 5 in total: Algebra 1, English 1, English 2, Biology, and US History. And so English 1, Algebra 1, and Biology 1 are taken in the ninth grade year. English 2 is taken in the 10th grade year, and then US History is taken in the 11th grade year. So when we think about these scores and what does passing mean, knowing that these are important assessments for our students to demonstrate success on, scores are based on scale scores. So when students receive their score reports back, we will see a scale score associated with a descriptor. There are 3 descriptors: approaches, where students are approaching grade level performance; meets, where students are meeting grade level performance; and masters, where students are mastering grade level performance. For EOCs, approaches is also the equivalent of passing. So a student, in order to be successful on an EOC and to earn what they need to for graduation eligibility, they must at least approach grade level when they receive those scores back with those cut scores. If a student, I'm sorry, keep going. So resources. So how can you help your student at home? There are lots of resources available for you online. We have curated them and given you some links here. So if you can use your phone and scan this QR code, or you can type in the URL that's written below there, texasassessment.gov/redesign-resources. Here you will find many resources for parents to help support students at home. There is a checklist to help students prepare for STAAR at home. There's access to sample STAAR questions and even an online practice test that you can help facilitate at home with your student and help guide them through it. Familiarity and practice and just really understanding what the new assessment's looking like and how students need to think differently maybe about some of the content will be helpful for their preparation. Another resource that's available for families is the STAAR report card, also available online. Another QR code here that you can use your phone to scan. The URL is also below, texasassessment.gov/STAAR-score. And here, when STAAR scores come back, families will have a comprehensive report card that they can review to see how their student has done. On that report card, you will see current grade performance. In other words, each subject that your student tested and whether they approached, meet, or mastered at that grade level. That you will also see comparison to previous years' progress. So you will be able to see several years in math or several years in ELAR and how your student has performed over the years. And then you'll also have additional links for parent support. So if you find that your student has not been successful, what does that mean? What are some supports for retesting, or what are some supports to help increase student performance on the next assessment opportunity?
Thank you, Julie. So to make it simpler for our LP parents, what we've done is in Parent Portal, if you look here, we will have those scores for your child in Parent Portal. So we've given you some directions here of how to access it in Home Access Center. So once TA releases those scores officially to the district, we will be able to automatically link the confidentiality scores of your child to the Parent Access Center in the Parent Portal. And so here are some directions on how you will be able to pull that up. Again, these scores, since they are state scores, we will also have TELPAS if your child is taking TELPAS, STAAR Alternate 2, as well as TELPAS Alternate. Again, it will be a detailed report as Julie had shared. Everything that you would see within the TA link, we will have it here in Family Access for you already ready to download. So the detailed report, and you see on the side, it'll have STAAR RELA, it'll have the overall, the category results, test question responses. So everything that you will see in terms of your child's progress or score on the EOC. In addition, we wanted to share with you some final assessment results dates. Since the STAAR redesign is new this year, normally in the past, students and schools would receive scores before summer even starts. Now, because of the new STAAR redesign and the changes, these scores will not be available until later. So if you look at STAAR, you'll see that EOCs will not be available until August the 11th. There will be preliminary scores available on the 30th of June, but that is only almost like a raw score because that is for our schools and actually because of EOC for some of our students for graduation requirements because we need it in order for them to be ready for graduation. You'll also see that TELPAS will be available July 28th. STAAR Alternate 2 will be available for EOC on July the 12th, and then TELPAS Alternate will be available May 31st. Here we also have given you the testing dates that we have in LaPorte for these different EOCs. When you go into the TA website, you'll see that they have a testing window. Within that window, each district is able to choose the dates that they would like to have testing. So you may see this and say, oh, well, there's another school, another district that may be having EOC English at a different time. And that is probably true. But we want to share with you here our testing dates. English 2 will go first, and that is actually happening next Thursday, April 20th. English 1 will be on the 25th of April. Bio would be on May 2nd. U.S. History will be on May 3rd, and then Algebra will be the last EOC, and that will be on May the 9th. So that concludes our presentation tonight. We hope that this information is helpful for you as well as for your family. This will be it's recorded, and we will have this online live, have it in the website so that you can go back and review any of the slides and look at any dates and look at the links if you need anything, but this will be in the website for you. But we appreciate, we honor your time, and we thank you for your partnership with us in ensuring that your child is successful. And the last picture here is graduation, because ultimately with EOC and with high school, the ultimate goal is to ensure that every student in LaPorte walks on that stage and be able to throw their hats up in the air. So we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for spending this Thursday evening with us.